Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge.
All I got is bourbon.
Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge. Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge. Hey, we're back at it with McBrayer Spirits. Yes, the Judge versus the Judge. So going back, I had McBrayer Spirits, I think it was like late 24, early 25. This bottle here, quote unquote, called the Judge. My wife got it for me, aka Mrs. Judge. I had it, really enjoyed the hell out of it, right? Kind of put it aside because obviously I'm reviewing whiskey each week. And then fast forward to literally in the last like month or two, I had, gosh, at least 5 or 6 different patrons of mine called, text, whatever, hit me up. They're like, Judge, you need to try McBrayer Spirits. It's like the best thing in the world. I'm like, really? So, they were kind enough. I reached out to McBrayer and Bill, the owner, Bill McBrayer, part of the same family. He was kind enough to send me some of their whiskey, other different variations, as well as he sent me batch 5 of the new version called the Judge. So this is batch 4, that's batch 5. So shout out to Bill and thank you for your kindness. All right. So everyone's talking about McBrayer Spirits like, Judge, you need to get this brand on the channel. So what do we know about McBrayer Spirits? So McBrayer as a whole, when you think about W.H. McBrayer, this gentleman here, aka the Judge, he was a farmer, a businessman, a distiller, a senator, a philanthropist, but honestly, he was known truly for being a judge, as well as knowing his whiskey, distilling his whiskey. So he truly was a man of many talents, long story short. The Judge obviously also stood for top quality products, right? So you're thinking back to like the late 1800s where people were doing some very interesting things with whiskey. He was very much interested in producing fantastic whiskey, but top quality, using the best grains, the best water source, obviously as well, and just really distilling the best quality whiskey as a whole. So he's very successful, very influential. At one point in time, he actually ended up selling a portion of his whiskey over to, everyone knows his name, E.H. Teller. Yes, he sold his whiskey to E.H. Teller, a portion of it, if you will. And on the back of that, let's call it invoice, if you will, on the back of the invoice was, which is pretty interesting at the time, was actually the mash bill, the proprietary mash bill for his quote-unquote Judge, the infamous bottle, the Judge. So that is pretty cool, pretty interesting, right? I don't know if that was meant to be, but it was on the back of that, let's call that invoice, if you will. And so now it's known, and he used a very unique mash bill, which we'll get into a little bit. In addition to working with H. Teller, he also helped out part of his extended family. You may know this name in the whiskey industry, called the Deadmans. Yes, part of his extended family, the Deadmans. He gave them some money, some land, I believe, as well, to start up Kentucky Owl, right? You think of Kentucky Owl, you think of this day and age, the Deadman family, Dixon Deadman, 2XO, right? So obviously the Judge was a very influential man and still to this day touches the whiskey industry, which I think is awesome. Obviously, after like Prohibition, they shut down. Unfortunately, of course, he passed away. Fast forward to 2016, about 9.5, 10 years ago, his family, Bill and some other family members were able to start the brand back up. They are in Kentucky. They're not distilling their own whiskey, but they are contract distilling, right? So they are contract distilling. They're working with 3 Kentucky brands to contract distill. They're very transparent about that, right? So they're able to use their own grains, their heirloom grains, which is better quality. They have a unique barrel entry proof, which I'll get to in a little bit as well. And again, they're only working with these 3 Kentucky distilleries to do contract distilling. So that is pretty cool. All right. So we have 4 different samples. We're going to jump into them right now. Let's start with this 8-year-old. So this is Old McBrayer Bottled and Bond 100 proof. So this is a Bottled and Bond 100 proof, but it is 8 years old. So that's pretty cool. All right. So here we go. This is an 8-year-old 100 proof Bottled and Bond W.H. McBrayer whiskey. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Let's get into this nose real quick. And I'll give a verdict, a judgment at the end for all 4. Is that cool? All right, here we go. Let's dive into this. So aged 8 years, 100 proof, Bottled and Bond, and only $65. Not bad if you think about it. $65 bottle for an 8-year age statement. Not bad from that standpoint. Nice nose. Wow, very nice. Very like sweet, like apple, caramel. Oh yeah, baking spices, honey. Very nice. All right, let's roll, Judge. Here we go. Cheers to the McBrayer spirits and family. Very solid. This is very fruit forward. Tons of apples, tons of honey. Wow, tons of apples, tons of honey, tons of baking spices as well. Extremely fruit forward, like really well balanced. Very clean, very crisp. At 100 proof, it has like a nice long finish. Not too bold, not too not too harsh, but a very nice, clean, and long finish. Very nice. Let me get one more little sip. Cheers. Oh, that's nice. I like that a lot. All right, not bad. Wow. 8 years old. Damn, has some good depth to it as well. All right, now I'm starting to understand why all my patrons are loving McBrayer spirits. All right, let's move on to number 2. So what do we sip as number 2? This is the, oh, yes. So this is the Cedarbrook. So after W.H. McBrayer was existed for a long time, to kind of take a focus slightly off of his name as the Judge, they end up actually changing the name of the brand over to Cedarbrook. So this is the Cedarbrook W.H. McBrayer weeded bourbon, also 100 proof. So similar from the standpoint of same proof point of being 100, but this is a weeded bourbon. Now this one, we don't have the exact age. However, we do know MSRP, $55. All right, so $55, a weeded bourbon. So I'm expecting this one to be slightly a little bit more soft, a little bit sweeter, maybe a little bit more fruit from a standpoint of like more like maybe like raspberries, if you will. We shall see. Yeah, I was nosing this one earlier. Very nice nose. Similar like honey that was in the first one, the Bottled and Bond, the W.H. McBrayer, but a little bit more like darker fruits like raspberries, some blackberries. So a little bit more like darker fruits, if you will, even like some plum notes as well. All right, $55, 100 proof weeded bourbon. Here we go. Cheers. Oh, that's tons of strawberry. Jeez. The strawberry note was in the nose, but in the palate, that is extremely strawberry forward. Damn, I like that a lot. Hold on. Cheers again. That has a lot more strawberry notes in it than I would have expected. That's very strawberry, very berryish as a whole. Not so much blackberries, but more like strawberries. Very nice, very pleasant. All right, real quick, before I get to number 3 and number 4, 3 quick easy favors. Number 1, hit the like button. Number 2, drop me a comment. Let me know, have you tried McBrayer spirits before? The Judge, the weeded bourbon, the standard bottled and bond, or even a single barrel? If so, what are your thoughts? Last but not least, please make sure you all subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you get notification each and every time I release new content. All right. I wanted to end with the Judge, right? The Judge judging the Judge. However, the Judge Batch 5, the newest release, which this is basically like their top of the line product, right? The Judge, I'm actually going to review it now because it's 106.8 proof for Batch 5, where this single barrel, the last one I'm going to review, which is a Cedarbrook weeded bourbon, single barrel, is 118.8 proof. So I'm gonna go with the Judge now, just so we can kind of stick in order from a proof standpoint. Fair? All right. So what makes the Judge product so unique? So number 1, they use heirloom grains, right? So better quality grains. They also have a lower barrel entry proof as well for the Judge. It's 105 proof, which is pretty cool, right? You're not having to add a ton of water to it, so a lower barrel entry proof at 105. And the mash bill, very unique, very different, if you will. So the mash bill is 88.4% corn, 5.8% rye, and 5.8% barley. The other cool thing about it is that they use bloody butcher corn, right? It's like that red looking corn. They use bloody butcher corn, so completely different, not the white or yellow corn. So very cool, very unique. The whole story with the mash bill being written down on the invoice that was when he sold some of his whiskey to each teller. That was pretty cool. Love the story. All right, so this is batch 5, 106.8 proof. And by the way, from an MSRP standpoint, the Judge bottle, this one here, is about $100. So $100. The only thing we don't know is the exact age of this one here. But let's get into this one. All right, 106.8 proof. Let's get into the nose. Ooh, the nose is nice. Oh, now we're talking. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, man, this is really nice. Now I'm starting to get a lot more like deeper oak. Some leather. There's almost like a grape kind of a note. Oh, man. Yes, indeed. Very nice. Very much oak, leather, almost like a grape kind of a note. Very nice. All right, here we go. Cheers to the judge. Feels weird saying that, by the way. Like I'm cheersing myself, but cheers to W.H. McBrayer. And cheers to the Bill and his family as well for starting the brand back up to honor his family. Great job, Bill. Ooh, that's good. That's pretty good. Wow. What is the proof on this one? 106, 106.8. But it's barrel strength, remember, because they use a lower barrel entry proof at 105. Oh, man. Hold on. I kind of want to finish this, but I got one more. I'm going to have one more little small sip. Very different. Wow. That's a long finish. Still moving around my mouth. It's a long finish. The palate experience. Tons of berries, tons of leather, tons of oak. Very, very nice. Nicely done. Oh, man. Woo! This is hard. Hey, someone has to do it. So I'm moving over to the Cedarbrook Wheated Bourbon Barrel Strength. And this one, the mash bill on this one is 70% corn, 21% wheat, 9% barley, coming in at 118.8 proof. And these normally, from an MSRP standpoint, these wheated bourbons that are cask strength, like single barrels and so forth, are normally about $75. So you will notice, other than the Judge bottle, 55, 65, 75, this one, top of the line, is $100. All right, we're ending it with the Cedarbrook Cask Strength Wheated Bourbon, 118.8 proof. This is going to be hard. I mean, because that Judge one was amazing. That was truly amazing. It's going to be interesting to see how different this one is. It's a wheated bourbon, so it's obviously a different mash bill as well. So, okay, very nice. Ooh, you can tell that this one has a little bit of kick to it as well. I like it. Darker fruits, more blackberries, some strawberries, smidge of leather. Very nice. All right, here we go. Cheers to McBrayer Spirits. Very sweet. I love the berry notes in it as well. More blackberries, some raspberry, a little hint of pepper in the mid end of the palate. What's funny about this is that at 118.8 proof, it sips way lower than like you would think. If I was sipping this blind and I didn't know it was 118, I probably would have guessed this is closer to like 105, 106. This is really nice. Let me get one more little sip. Cheers. Wow. That's pretty damn good. That is pretty damn good. All right. So let's do a collective judgment today. 4 bottles enter, 1 judgment rendered. So Judge, if you see McBrayer Spirits on the shelf, if you see it online, is it really worth a grab? And then maybe, Judge, give me your favorite 2 of all of them. Is that fair? All right. The judgment is in. McBrayer Spirits is here to stay. Yes, this is actually some fantastic whiskey. Now I understand why all my patrons, a lot of people have been reaching out to me. Absolutely amazing. If I was to pick 2 of them that I think are actually amazing, all 4 were really good. Let's be crystal clear. All 4 were solid. All 4 are buys. But if you had to pick 2 that I think are actually spectacular, I'm going to go with, of course, number 1, the Judge. I think the Judge is amazing. And I mean amazing. This is a special pour. I can't wait. I'm having a nice little gathering at my house next week with some whiskey friends. We're going to enjoy batch 5 as well as batch 4. But my second one, interesting enough, my second one Even though this one was cask strength also at 1 to 18.8, my second favorite was this bad boy right here. The Cedarbrook Wheated Bourbon at 100 proof. I thought was truly amazing quality whiskey. And I mean amazing. So cheers to the McBrayer family. Cheers to bringing your brand back. And most important, you did well by representing the judge. Cheers, Bill. Cheers, everyone else. Take care, guys.
All I got is bourbon.
Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge.